Hello and a very warm welcome to the Dugout. One match over. India versus UAE, or a lack of a match. And all attention now goes to September 14th. That date which has been constantly flying around our heads like a fly. I mean, if you look at it, September 14th, September 14th, September 14th, because it's going to be India versus Pakistan. You're seeing a lot of trends going on. You're seeing some pleas being filed. You're looking at what is the situation in Dubai. You're looking at what is the situation between the boards. It's all building up to a nice, you may say, pot boiler. Maybe the match may not be that exciting, but the antics of the field might be very, very exciting in more ways than one. And it's been highlighted by two cases today. One, the Supreme Court, they said that the plea was filed, can we have a hearing on banning India versus Pakistan Asia Cup? And plus, there is ticket sales, which are actually for let me reiterate, India-Pakistan cricket match. India-Pakistan cricket match is actually not setting the stage on fire. So, what is going on with India versus Pakistan? The so-called marquee clash that every broadcaster, every marketing agency wants to milk it. Has the cash cow lost the cash? What is it? That is the main discussion that we're going to have in the dugout today. It's not going to be a very mild dugout, let me assure you.
Talking about the Supreme Court mentioning, I'm going to take everything one by one. So Supreme Court, somebody went to the Supreme Court saying that stop the match. There was a plea. And Supreme Court has said that let the match go on.
Let the match go on. It's happening on Sunday, the match.
But my point is, I just want to know in general, so Supreme Court has dismissed the plea, but if let's say they had not dismissed, can the Supreme Court really put a stay on this? Because this has not got anything to do, firstly it's not happening in India, and how can the Supreme Court put a stay on an Indian team from playing? I don't know whether
it has never happened.
Beyond their jurisdiction to be taking this decision? I don't know.
Yes, of course. How does it make sense that you can ask the Indian Supreme Court to ban a match that is being organized by the Asian Cricket Council?
No, I think what they would mean is like in some way you get an injunction or something for the Indian team not to play. Yeah. Is that possible?
They could have, what they should have ideally done is do it for the government. You could have told the government, you can't send the Indian team, stop the match. They can very well ask the government to do it.
Can the courts do that?
They can do that.
The courts have the power.
Although there is no precedence ever in India.
No, I don't think it can.
You can. If the Supreme Court believes the national interest.
For any decision taken in the parliament with anything, can I go to the court and challenge it?
See, legislature and judiciary are two different wings. Sometimes you say now that there is a judicial over this thing, that how can you dismiss this one particular thing on the legislature? But then you would remember that in the 70s and the 80s, when the legislature tried to strike off certain laws from the constitution, then the Supreme Court did step in and say no, it won't happen. For example, when there was a law that was passed by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi in the 70s of the nationalization of the banks, they had to put it in the law, but the Supreme Court, its overarching powers, then said, no, you can't do that.
No, but then that way, any decision, let's say it's taken, can I go to the
court? If there is a very prominent body that goes to the Supreme Court and says, these are done...
PIL?
But again, these were done by individuals.
But how does that matter? I don't know. Can an opposition party go to the court? I don't think you can. No, I'm just saying there's a vice president election that happened. Like, can you go to the court for that? Though I'm not happy.
If the election is disputed, maybe then you can go to the court. You can go to the court.
For everything you can go.
If the election is very bitterly disputed.
With Mr. Gadkari having that E20 fuel, can I go to the court?
You can. But we all know how the court systems work.
I don't know.
So you have to be ready for a long haul.
Poor mileage and the issue with the parts. Only, I think, vehicles that are BS2 compliant. And by the way, even that's not true, because I have a vehicle which is BS2. That's also not E20 compliant. So I don't know whether you can go to the court for everything.
See, many people are saying we can't, they can't. But then, I don't know. See, if there is significant pressure brought upon But I don't think there is any significant pressure bottom.
No, I mean, look, I can't comment on this for one simple reason. I'm not a legal expert. I am.
What do you think the two of us are?
I know, but I would refrain from it because this is a whole different sort of a thing. I mean, unless I'm fully well aware of what the legal ramifications are, can't comment. But I don't think, basis my very layman's knowledge, that filing a PIL now, even if they had the power to stop the match, is going to be doing anything. You're 3 days away from
See,
the match.
there's never been a precedence ever in
No,
India.
for example, a lot of times, Supreme Court, like even with a day left or something like that, they take a call immediately. Sometimes Supreme Court works on the weekend as well.
For example, for certain events that took place, they did. For example, I think for one, I don't know, an execution or something, they did burn the midnight.
It can happen last moment also. With 1 day to go, they do, they push the case up, immediately hear it, and then decide immediately. It does happen. They can do it. If so, I think sometimes they've done it with just 1 day in the middle. Here you have a luxury of 3-4 days. So I don't think time is of the essence. I know sometimes you need to hear a lot of arguments, but what the court does is for that moment, put a stay or something when they want to hear the full arguments, but they think there is a valid PIL that's been submitted which deserves to be heard, then they put a stay. So you won't allow anything to go ahead till such time the hearing is over. But in this case, they've not even heard the matter. They've dismissed it. I think it's pretty much Supreme Court's, and in fact, Supreme Court has gone on to say that let the match happen.
Yeah,
that's what the Supreme Court has said. Let the match happen, quote unquote. So one is, Supreme Court could have said we don't have enough time to debate it, so we reserve our judgment on this, and so we dismiss the PIL. Here they've said, why are you coming to us with this last moment? Let the match happen. So I think that's what the Supreme Court has said. Anyway, that is Supreme Court's observation. So that was one other avenue that if anyone had and wanted to go to, so they've gone to. But other than that, there are various other things that the citizenry can do. Boycott the match, not watch it, not buy the ticket. If you're in Dubai, you could do that as well. And I believe that a lot of people are exercising that right as well, because I see it's all over social media, though the statement is all copy cut paste, but a lot of social media influencers have started putting their statement out that they will not be, they don't cover it like we do, but on X or Instagram, in whichever small capacity they do, that they will not be covering. And a few media houses, I also believe, may not be very prominent ones, have also put out a statement that they will not be covering. What do you make of that?
It's a choice that they have taken. But I would just like to say they should then have done this much. Okay, I know in the time of social media also, it's gotten amplified. See, what differentiates Sindoor and Pahalgam? It's your first social media war that has ever happened. It has escalated and amplified so many times that people will never ever forget it. And that is why now you will see statements, we won't cover it, we won't do that. Whether they do it on a consistent basis or is just a one-off, that I'll have to see, because I want to see this litmus test being done for one Asia Cup, not just this match, second match also, because you will play them if they qualify in the Super 4s yet again. What about ICC events? Will you have the gumption to boycott that as well? And forget cricket. I mean, this is where the PIL people also who filed that, I have a major problem with them also. Why? Why just cricket? Your other stumbling blocks have been in major other sports. Davis Cup you're going to have Neeraj versus Arshad Nadeem in the World Athletics Championship as well. Why not put a stop to that? Just cricket. That shows our myopic outlook. Just cricket. I will want to see them do it for an ICC event. Then and only then their statement holds water. Otherwise, this is just for the heat of the moment. That, we'll do this. We are just going with the current at this point in time. So I
would want to know that a lot of people who are boycotting, what happens now with the Women's World Cup? You will play Pakistan. It'll be in a neutral venue, okay. But so is this game in Dubai. What happens there?
Don't forget T20 World Cup next year. You know they're going to be paired in the same group.
India, Pakistan, Colombo
They'll
again.
play in Colombo.
What you'll do then? That's what I want them to see. Boycott an ICC event. Then the statement will hold water. Then otherwise, how on earth will one day's boycott of potentially 4 games that is going to happen from now till March of India Pakistan going to make any difference? One, if you believe that 1 teaspoon of sugar can make the entire ocean sweet, then go for it. Go for this delusion. But otherwise, issue the statement during the World Cups. Major ICC events, 2026, 2027. I'm sure in 2027 ODI World Cup, they'll be paired together.
There's only one statement we have, Shivam, or there are more?
Yeah, there are multiple statements in that sense. But look at it. Because this war happened in the era of social media, it was our first major war. That's why people will not forget it, but they'll not take drastic actions also. Let's see on 21st of September.
I wonder whether, by the way, this is a social media campaign because everyone's copy, cut, paste this.
Yes, the
has
same
it happened
statement.
organically or is it?
I mean,
Arrangement?
considering we are dealing with social media accounts here, and we know that, nowadays there's enough talk about social media campaigns being held for certain things, whether it be in a positive light or in a negative light. I mean, you don't really know the veracity of it anymore, do you? Are these, because as you said, the statements are exactly the same, barring the names of the accounts.
And the font.
There's nothing different.
So, for example, let's say right now, I think the government's coming under a lot of pressure for allowing this. And if I am anti-government, I can get a paid campaign by paying a lot of influencers and saying that we'll boycott. In a sense, showing the current government in bad light, I can do that. Right? I can generate this social media campaign by paying a lot of influencers as well to do that, and not really very prominent media. You can do it the other way around, as Shane mentions. If you want to really prop it up, if you want to prop up the government, then you can.
There were attempts made even in the issue you were discussing earlier to reach out to social media influencers.
Yes, because today.
And they denied it, by the way.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. While sometime it has worked in the government's advantage, some campaigns. Maybe you can also have a campaign to malign them by getting people to see, because right now it becomes very interesting. I don't know which way to look at it, because up until now it was the current dispensation that would seem like ultra nationalist and everything to do with Pakistan. They'd be this side. And it was the opposition that was seen as being a little more sympathetic towards Pakistan, if I'm
Weak.
using the correct...
another term which was used.
Yeah, weak, let's say. Now, imagine how within a couple of weeks, the whole thing has turned, and it is now the opposition, and I think that's double standard from their part as well, who in other times used to be, much soft, has now become ultra hard. Because the government, which at one time was very strong and firm, has taken a softer stance. So I don't know I just trying to understand. If you're opposition, are you just supposed to oppose everything that is done? So even if the other party has kind of become the way you want them to become, but because you have to oppose them, so if you were mild, they become mild. You say, no, we were mild, you were very firm. But now you become mild, so now I'll become firm. So we can't ever be on the same page.
Oppositions in this country, be it any spectrum, they have never been constructionists, they have been obstructionists. That's why you will always have a policy paralysis in the country. Always.
And by the way, this holds true. I mean, we're not taking any sides of any political party. We're talking as neutrals, completely, unbiased in that way. And I think Siddharth is right about the opposition, and I think it goes to every party that has been in opposition. Because when you're in opposition, then you find 100 faults.
Yeah.
And when you're in power,
You find no faults.
You find no faults, and then the opposition will find another 100 faults. And your tone also changes based on what you're saying. So, you kept saying your shirt is yellow, yellow, yellow all this while, and I kept insisting, no, it's mustard, mustard, mustard. The day you came on the same track as me and said, yeah, this is mustard, 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 I said, no, Yellow.
It was yellow.
So it's just that. It is.
Yeah.
It's just being that. So I don't know whether it's really been influenced by the opposition parties or not. But if I was to ask you personally, would you, if you were not working in the media, would you be watching this India-Pakistan match?
I mean, if I was not working in the media, probably not. And that has to do with two factors. One, of course, I do feel like,
Don't say because I wouldn't watch cricket.
No, it's not because of that. Of course, I would watch cricket. And India-Pakistan is something that if you're even a more casual viewer, does grab your interest more often than not. Of course, one instance is that, I do feel like, and this is just my personal opinion, the hype around the Asia Cup hasn't been much. I hate saying it, but it's true. I don't see much hype around it. And I think that may have something to do with Pahalgam. It may have to do with the fact that I don't think any of the opposition teams are holding that much of a candle to India at this point in time.
That's fine, but Pakistan still.
I would still.
I mean, I give you example of Asia Cups previously as well. Also, did not have that kind of a buzz as you see during an ICC tournament, or sometimes some bilaterals that Test series like India, Australia, India, England.
Yeah.
It's always been the case. Yet, come India-Pakistan match day, it does become quite a draw.
The other reason why I would not watch is because, this is a firm belief of mine, is that instead of going around on social media and saying boycott this, boycott that, and if you don't boycott it, you aren't a true patriot or you're not a true this, that, I believe the best way to vote, and this is true more so in the social media era than ever, the best way to not let a fire burn is to not give it any oxygen. Do you have a problem with India-Pakistan matches being played? Don't watch. Once the viewership drops, once they realize there's no demand for it, then the matches automatically, the frequency of them goes down. That would be my way of sending a message. It may work, it may not work, but I think it's a more peaceful way of doing it.
But you would do that personally at the moment. Do you feel like watching India-Pakistan?
I mean, from a professional capacity, I'm of course going to watch.
No, I'm saying, let's say you were not, because of course you're in this, and a lot of people, be prepared for it. A lot of people will, the ones that shower love on you sometimes and agree with what you say, will also come abusing you, and that's the nature of this social media at the moment, for the fact that you will be covering India-Pakistan. And I'm saying, why just you? When a Surya Kumar Yadav could be abused for shaking hands, what else was he supposed to do? And similarly, it is your bread and butter, it is your job, and if it's an India-Pakistan game, you're supposed to be covering it. But I'm sure a lot of people will come and tell you that, Haro, for the country, you should have really stood up. I don't want to use the same words that Shubman Gill used in the Test series to Crawley and Duckett. So, show some courage. I'll use a much more nicer word. Show some courage. Even if it is part of your job, don't cover it. People might say that to you, but at an individual capacity, you don't want to see it because of what has happened now.
Yes, and I may as well point out that my version of patriotism is a lot more, let's say, subtle than compared to what I see sometimes on social media. I love my country. Let's make no bones about it. But I'm also not going to be chest thumping or beating around, telling people that if you don't do it my way, then you're wrong. As I said, my way of boycotting would be simply not watching. Don't participate in the noise. Don't give them social media engagement. Let the metrics drop. That's the best way to let anything, be ignored. Don't cancel it. Just ignore it. That's the best thing to do. And that's something I would recommend to a lot of people. I understand if you, as a fan, see, we are professionals, we're media professionals. We would have to be involved in, a professional capacity. But if you as a fan are uncomfortable, the best thing to actually do would be say, I don't want to watch the game.
And I think to the contrary as well, if you are a fan who wants to watch it, don't carry a guilt.
Absolutely. You should not feel guilty for watching what it is you want to watch. It's a free country. Please go ahead and watch if you feel like watching. That doesn't make you any less of a patriot or any less of an Indian.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I'm trying to say. That, just go back to the basic that I don't think not watching or watching a match will make you any more of a patriot than not. So if somebody does decide to watch a match, that doesn't necessarily make him any less of a patriot. And I'll tell you why. Because at the end of the day, I don't see a cricket match that is happening between the two countries as an extension of Aman Ki Asha. So you got to understand, I think it is regular procedure. For example, if there is an SEO meet that is happening, wherein India will be there. There'll be a Pakistan that will be there. You, if you're supposed to represent the country, you're supposed to go there. And by you going there, just because Pakistan is also there, does not in any way show that you have now, forgotten everything and now you're extending a hand of friendship. So my basic point is that if India are playing Pakistan, let it not be viewed as a extending their hand of friendship. It's not that. I'll take you to the Cold War era as well. In USA and Russia did compete over various sport, even at the Olympic level, and those were grudge matches. I don't think either of the teams treated it as now Aman ki Asha, like, oh, now we are playing each other, so we are brothers, let's hug each other. No, those were fiery contests that happened. It was a way of each of the countries showing their superiority over the other in that. And it was an extension of that rivalry that they were having at a political level that happened at the sporting level also. And that is the point that I also made when I traveled to Pakistan. I went to Pakistan to cover cricket. And me going there is in no way, I'm not going as an ambassador of peace. I'm not going there as a representative of my country who's, taken some information from our home ministry and as a delegation, I'm going there, to sort out things between the two countries. You're not going there. You're going to cover matches. And I think that's what you should expect out of your players. That I go back to when Surya Kumar Yadav was told. I don't think he's behaving as a white dove or as an ambassador of peace. He's not that. He is a player who's been told that this is a match that you're playing and you have to give your best. And Surya Kumar Yadav mentioned in the press conference that yes, if tensions will be flying high, that is but natural, that's the nature of the game, that will happen. We'll all try to play within the rules, but we'll play. India-Pakistan encounter is going to be that. So again, if you're watching that India-Pakistan game, or if a player is playing it or someone is covering it, I don't think he in any way is behaving like extending a hand of friendship to Pakistan. He's not doing that. Playing a cricket match is not that. And yes, I agree. When you have bilateral games, then that's like, okay, let's get involved in recreation. Let's, reciprocate love for each other. That's not what is happening. And I think the government must have thought of this when they took a decision about multilateral tournaments, that if and to the point that Siddharth made, that if you, let's say, pull out of Asia Cup, then what are you going to do at the ICC tournament? Then you and I will only ask the government, you pulled out of Asia Cup, pull out the ICC. Then you will have the Men's World Cup, you will pull out. When will that end? Can you continue to be like that? At some point you will have to. And by the way, if you're thinking at certain point there will be peace and things like that, I don't think that's going to happen anytime in the near future. You've heard it from the Indian side that Operation Sindoor is ongoing, and I don't think for the two countries that have been fighting for 70 plus years, suddenly a solution will come. So things will be uncomfortable, will be prickly for some time to come. And so at what point will you then start playing? At what point will you stop? So I think that is why a meeting must have happened. Decision would have been arrived at after much deliberations that if we come up with a policy, we have to be consistent with that going forward. Every multilateral tournament we cannot be pulling it. And I think based on that, they've said, fine, multilateral tournament, they'll be in the future. And by the way, why just limit it to cricket? Supposing you pull out of the cricket, those other things will also come out. What if in the Olympics you're there? What if Neeraj and Arshad are there? Will you want Neeraj to pull out because there is a Pakistani competitor there? What will happen in the Asian Games level? Your two wrestlers may come up against each other, two boxers may come up against each other. Will you keep
hockey?
Yes, hockey. Where will this end, right? So I think we all have to think of a long-term thing, and I think the long-term solution can only be achieved, I've said it before, either militarily or diplomatically. That's the only way it can be. Sport cannot find a solution between India and Pakistan. I don't think sport can do that at all. It does not have the power. You can say soft power, so on and so forth. It does not have the power. I think the policy, and in that sense I agree, and I'm not talking about this government, whatever government that comes in, and that has been the case, that you could suspend bilateral series because that is like,
that's in their control, right?
That's in their control, and that's also in a way saying, okay, we have great relations, let's indulge in cultural exchanges, or you want to stop that, that's fine. But now multilateral tournaments across sport for every year, for the next 10, 12 years, and I don't see any improvement happening between the two countries and the relation for the next 10, 12 years. So what are you going to do? Every World Cup you'll keep missing. Okay, you may not even put them in the same group. What happens in a Super 6 stage? What happens in a semi-final, final? Will you keep doing that? And for how long can you keep doing that? So I think maybe because right now emotions are high with what has happened, so a lot of people are doing it. But as Shane said, if you don't want to watch it, then will you continue doing that? And for how long? For another 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years? And are you telling me that incident that happened in Pahalgam, all those things are going to stop? I don't think so. It is, I've said it before, I'm not mincing my word. Pakistan is run by uncontrolled rogue army, right? Whether even if they have a democratic government in power, which has been at loggerheads with India since 47.
Yeah.
So you think it is going to stop? You think those incidents are, going to, no. I don't see, hopefully for all our sake, because one thing you can't do is change your neighbors. Hopefully, maybe in the long term, someday a solution will be found where you, even if you're not friends, you allow each other to live peacefully and you carry on. Hopefully that will be the day, that comes about. Is it going to happen immediately? I don't think so. So what are you going to do about sport? Sport will carry on. So that's why I'm saying whatever decision you take, and it's completely your decision, as Shane points out, keep this in mind, that this is not a one-off. These things will keep happening. Within the next 6 months, you're going to have multiple important India-Pakistan matches.
Isn't Neeraj and Arshad going to be playing in the same tournament?
World champion.
World Athletics Championship,
Yeah.
18th.
There we go.
Yeah. So then what are you going to do?
18th.
Boycott
Then,
that too.
then you got Junior Hockey World Cup in Madurai, although Pakistan's pulled out of it.
Yeah.
But that they have pulled out and made
That
life easier.
No, that is because of a reciprocal step they've taken,
Yeah.
because India doesn't go to Pakistan.
Doesn't go to
that's
Pakistan.
why if the event is in India, we won't play. But they're also okay playing India in a multilateral tournament. So let's say if this Junior Hockey World Cup was in South Africa, hypothetically,
Yeah, then they
Pakistan
would
would have
play.
played and India would have played. They're saying we will not come to India,
India.
because India does not come to Pakistan for any sport.
Yeah.
So I think that's the
So that is why 2030 and 2036 you're primarily organizing just to isolate Pakistan even further. Why 2030 and 2036? Because 30 Commonwealth Games that you're planning to host, 36 you're making a bid for the Olympics in that sense. So
though that is the argument that I don't buy. If somebody says that we have to do this because we want to organize the Olympic, I think that is something that you can let go of. It is not, it's not bigger than the country per se. But yes, I agree that, again, what else can your decision makers do today?
I mean, their entire outlook has been compromised when you look at it. Right from the time when they've been dealing with Pakistan from 65 onwards, every decision has been compromised in more ways than one. I mean, I'll tell you, you talk about the Olympics that the Americans and the Soviets had. Okay, the rivalry was there, intense rivalry. There was a boycott
Was
to
that
and
the
fro.
greatest game ever played, that ice hockey match?
Ice
that
hockey game.
happened? 80, no, 80 to they boycotted.
They boycott, I think it was 76
May have
or
been.
in that period.
Ice
Montreal.
hockey final that they played.
Montreal, probably. I'm not aware of the date. But then see, there was a tit for tat boycott also that happened. 80, the Western Bloc boycotted. And the Soviet, the East, if you look at it, the Warsaw Pact boycotted in 1984. But you also see that there was a blood in the water match also where political tension spilled over onto the sporting field. 1956 Melbourne, the water polo game between Hungary and Soviet Union. At that time, Soviet Union had invaded Hungary to crush the revolution there. And that had spilled over into the water polo match also. So that is one, okay. Every single time we have come, whatever policy, whatever patriotism, whatever nationalism that you want to propagate, your institutions themselves have been compromised, so we cannot have 100% patriotism on anything. I'll tell you why, okay? PIL to file and stop an India-Pakistan match in the aftermath of Pahalgam and Operation Sindoor. How on earth can we expect our institutions to stop the game when in the middle of a war, full-fledged war in Kargil 1999, from May to July, you played an ICC event. You played India-Pakistan in Old Trafford. That time, you had that fake narrative that, oh, we'll beat them on the field. Pulwama also, we'll beat them on the field in Old Trafford, June 2019. It's about time that what we as a nation have to do is, you have to know what are your priorities firstly. How can a group that has never had a single priority, when we don't value our soldier, when we don't value anybody in that sense, decision makers, your individuals that you select, they will operate on what the people think. Some majority of the people are compromised in their ideology. Some people are on the extremes. How do I operate amidst all that?
No, Siddharth, you tell us. You are the sole decision maker right now. What are you going to do? What is your stance going to be?
I mean, you yourself mentioned in the debate that sport has got no solution to it. So if you've got no solution.
Because you're saying that we as a country have always been, having double standards and so on and so forth. But what is it that you expect to do? I'm making you're the Prime Minister. Like, what is that movie? For one day he was made, Anil Kapoor.
One day?
You're that today.
Yeah.
What decision are you
Every sporting event, every sporting that I include, even when it comes to Olympic level, even when it comes to Asian Games level, ICC cricket level, any sporting event, right from beach volleyball all the way to kabaddi or malkhamb, if Pakistan has a presence, and if you truly believe that, okay, on the patriotism front I want to win, I will not indulge any of my sporting entities to play against Pakistan.
Okay, so you're saying, because see, now you have to be consistent with your thought. You're saying from now on, if you were the decision maker, you will not play Pakistan at any level, at whatever. At the Olympic level, so now I'm going, Neeraj Chopra in the final, there's Arshad Nadeem, you want Neeraj Chopra to pull out of the final, right?
Yes.
You want that.
Harsh, but yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Hockey, you're playing for a medal at the Olympic Games, you want the hockey team to pull out. ICC, now cricket is your religion, so we'll keep discussing cricket all through the year. What team should be made, who should be captain, who's the good opener, and as if our life depends on that, we'll keep discussing. Come the World Cup, you are discussing and analyzing everything. Semi-finals, you playing Pakistan, you pull out. Then you might as well not discuss all these things. Then what's the point? If every World Cup, just hear me out, every World Cup, if you're just going to do that and just pull out, then you might as well not wreck your brains through the year as to who should be the captain the next World Cup, what should we do. Why do we do that? Because we want the best for our team. What is it that we all desire as countrymen? That you lift the World Cup. But you keep discussing that somewhere or the other you will face them and you're going to jeopardize your chance of winning the trophy. Then why, spend 12 months a year doing everything? Then you might as well just play IPL. Don't play all these tournaments. See, because you have not reached a stage where you can eliminate Pakistan out. That would be the ideal scenario. You have not reached the stage there, right? Either you reach that level that your aspirations, what about players who are coming up who would want to one day win the World Cup? You have come up with this. That's what I'm saying. What the decision that you've come up with is without giving it much thought, without even looking at the repercussions. It's very easy to say that, for me, put it like that. But try and think what will happen with that.
But we are living a dystopia still.
No. But Siddharth, I told you, a decision maker. See, when you are a decision maker, if that's what I'm trying to say, if I am a DM of a place, district magistrate, and there is a riot that might be happening between two sets of religious leaders, I can't just be, sabko dande maar ke. If I have been made the DM, why have I been made the DM? Because I'm going to look at it in a nuanced manner. I'm going to consider all sides. I can't just be like, whoever indulges in violence, shoot at sight. Do you understand?
Martial law, yeah.
Yes, I'll have to think of various different aspects. I'll have to bring my experience into play. I'll have to have multiple meetings to understand how do I manage that situation. It can't just be simple. So what you're suggesting is that let's not do it. I'm just trying to tell you what all will happen after that. What are the repercussions? Then we might as well not be discussing any sport, anything to do going forward, because you're not playing. And then the second thing of that is that the reason you're not playing is, what is the core issue? I'm going back to your decision. The core issue is that you do not want to have any relationship with Pakistan, and what is the final motive? That they mend their ways and stop doing what is happening, which is cross-border terrorism, right? That is the final goal, right? That is why you're saying we don't want to play. Do you think if you're not playing, the world, again, that's what I'm saying, continues to move on? For them, again, for Pakistan, it's a victory. Because what you have done is, out of a stand, eliminated yourself. And imagine for them, if like, for example, for us, it will be a victory if we can eliminate Pakistan and isolate them and they're not part of any tournaments. You have given them that victory by yourself stepping aside, and they have achieved isolating you from the world of sport in every platform, whether it's Olympics, Asian Games, whatever, because they're playing and you're not there in anything. That is another victory. And third thing, for you to achieve your goal of stopping that terrorism, as I said, who are the people who indulge in these kind of things? Are they the Aam Janta there? No. Are it the sports people there? No. It is their incapable government, and it is their ISI backed by the army. That is an open secret that everyone knows, whether people in Pakistan believe that or not, or India believe that or not. There are enough documentaries, enough things to see and read which will tell you that, right? Do you think you not playing sport with them in any way deter them? The fanatics that fuel this fire, okay, that are in a minority in Pakistan, they'd be happy that you're not playing cricket. So if you don't play cricket, that is in no way a deterrence for them to stop their activities across the border. That might just continue. So you're not achieving your goal.
Even when you are playing cricket, it has never been a deterrence.
Correct. That's what my point is. That is what my point is. So what you're doing is denying your whole country, your own sportsmen, people who are desiring without, and I agree, it can be cricket is not that important. It can be sacrificed. So long as your decision leads to something productive, leads to something that will give you what you desire, but it's not going to do that.
At least let the wheels start to churn.
It will not.
You have been living in neutral gear for the past decade or so.
I don't know.
For 2-3 decades you have been living in neutral. You have allowed this to happen, you have allowed that to happen. Okay? Under any normal, commonsensical circumstances in the world of unilateralism, okay, let us look at what are the price each nation is paying for unilateralism. Russia, because of what they did in Ukraine, are they paying a big enough price? I don't think so. Their athletes are not phased. They are okay with the fact that, okay, let it happen.
No, they're not okay at all. Again, I go back to Russia. Very good example. Russia does not want to not play anything. They don't want to be isolated. Russia doesn't want to be isolated. The world has isolated them.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what my point is. In this case, you're saying world is not wanting to isolate either Pakistan or India. You're isolating yourself. Daniel Medvedev had to apologize and say, because he wants to pursue his career, he wants to be playing there. He apologized saying, no, I do not, and he said it against his own country, I do not support the war that Russia has had with Ukraine. He said that so that he can play his Grand Slam. In this case, what you're suggesting is, which is fine, patriot, you're saying, okay, we'll isolate themselves. Well, my point is, I'm okay with that also, so long as I see a light at the end of the tunnel that I can achieve something. I can get a rogue nation to get back on track. That's not going to happen. With the isolating, all you'll do is, you will take away the aspirations of so many young players who want to be cricketers, who want to be doing that. Let me give you another example. By the way, let's say somebody doesn't want to watch right now, like Shane also mentions, right? Maybe because you're doing it, as he says, that you don't watch it because you want to hurt the broadcasters, the advertisers, and so on and so forth. Now, my point is that, and maybe if a lot of people, let's say 50% of the country boycotts that, it'll impact the advertisers, it'll impact the broadcaster. But I'll tell you what, it also will not get you the desired result. Because right now, the decision that has been, you got to go to the crux of the matter. The decision that has been taken for India to play in the Asia Cup has nothing to do with the money. Who gains the money here? Does the government gain money? Do they get any money of what the broadcaster is making or the advertiser is making or even if what the BCCI gets? Do they get anything from that? No. So I can't understand this narrative that the government is allowing this because of monetary reasons. No. I think they allowed it keeping in mind that we will have to have a long-term policy. We can't just say now Asia Cup you don't play. What are you going to do with the... So they must have thought about it. Can you do that now in Champions Trophy? Women's World Cup, what are you going to do? What are you going to do for the T20 World Cup? What are you going to do when Neeraj is participating? What are you going to do if you're playing them in the Olympic Games? Various things. So they took a call. So again, money does not come. So I'm saying for anyone who's boycotting right now, they're saying we'll hurt them by money. But who are you hurting? You're hurting the broadcaster. He does not make that decision. See, a broadcaster only bids for a sport or a series that you have decided to play.
My argument is not based on the money factor at all.
But I'm just saying, money is because a lot of people now
true. That is
who
a
are
factor for a lot of
correct.
people.
But my point is, I want to tell them as well. Fine, don't watch it. If you don't want to watch it, and Shane, I think, put it really well. You feel that in any way right now, it doesn't sit well with you that India and Pakistan are playing, and that's for personal reasons. Fine. But I'm saying, if you're thinking that you will be able to hurt someone, yes, you will hurt someone. You'll only hurt the broadcaster. Okay, and the advertisers and whatever. You are actually not even hurting the BCCI, because for BCCI it's a piddly little tournament. They'll make more money through a bilateral series, which they can organize at any time of the year. So their money is not going to be affected by if you're not watching India-Pakistan match. Trust me, government doesn't make any money out of that India-Pakistan. So none of them are going to be affected. So if you're saying that your quiet activism of not watching an India-Pakistan match will have any result, I just want to lay bare the facts. I don't think it'll.
I mean, again, look at it. See, if Russia are not paying that much of a price, okay, some are paying, some are not paying. Okay, you look at Israel. They are fighting a 6-front war at this point in time. They are getting all the hate, but there is a boycott Israel call even going now. Yeah. Their sporting teams unfairly are getting targeted.
Boycotting. You're not getting my point.
Okay,
others
if not Israel.
If you want to achieve your motive, then the right thing would be India gets everyone together, the world together, and gets them to boycott Pakistan.
Okay.
That will be a victory for you. But if you yourself step out, that I'll be boycotted, then it'll be, where will it end?
Then let me come closer to home. Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Sri Lanka had to face an existential crisis for 26 years. When they dismantled the terror network, the world wasn't with them.
Correct.
But then they carried on, right?
Yes.
It was unilateralism.
Yes, but they were playing sport, no?
But there was a boycott call even against them.
Correct. But again, you're not getting
many people.
The boycott calls coming from outside. See, examples you're giving is the world wanting to boycott you. So if you were in a situation
out of unilateral action from one.
Yes, Siddharth.
Unilateral action from one. And that is why, what is stopping India from not taking this unilateral
action?
Because
your example is completely wrong.
No.
Unilateral action.
How on earth can you then justify the fact that why are we then even discussing Pahalgam, which is a very small situation compared to this? I'll tell you why. The government and the BCCI's decisions have made this incident look very small. The government is to blame for this. They took the decision taking into account what will happen in 2030 or what will happen in 2036 because you don't want sanctions.
It's not a question of sanction. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they're trying to make anything small or big. Firstly, I mean, any incident, I think that even if two, fellow citizens die, I think it's a big enough incident. So I don't think they're making it look small. No matter the degree of the incident in your eyes, whatever that might be, this decision is not based on that. As I said, all examples you're giving is when countries did something and they were boycotted by the rest of the world. But they said, fine, if you're boycotting us, like in Israel's case, we'll continue, or in Russia's case, we'll continue, whatever, right? That's the world boycotting them. Let's say if India tomorrow goes to war with Pakistan and they want to set things right, okay? And the rest of the world is not supporting India and they want to boycott anything to do with India, right? And if you and I are then asked, I can speak for myself, I would have said no problem. What action you're taking militarily is going to result in a better future for us, and you're teaching a country that's been unfair to you for so long. I back you. Sports doesn't matter. Doesn't matter the world is isolating. That's not the case. The world is not isolating you. You yourself are saying, that's what I'm saying, you are allowing them a walkover. You're giving them a walkover by saying the world does not isolate me because the world sees my point of view, India's point of view. But I am saying I will step aside, I'll isolate myself. You're only to pay. That's what I'm trying to say. Why do you want to do that? And that's all the examples you've given. The country is not isolating themselves. You are allowing a walkover to Pakistan, would be more than happy that you've isolated yourself from every other platform, and they'll continue to play. Why do
Two out of the three have had a situation absolutely bundled upon them. Israel, Gaza, and Sri Lanka, LTT. Now you've got India, Pakistan.
But That's what I'm saying.
So-
They were isolated by the world.
So that is why when you saw that the world is myopic, they don't understand what is going on between India and Pakistan. That's never happened.
I'm not talking about the world.
So
I'm talking about us.
I'm only-
talking about, I don't care what the world is saying. I'm talking about my team. Do I want my Indian cricket team not to be playing anything from here on? No, I don't want that.
Look.
Do I want my Indian sports persons to be isolated from the rest of the world? No, I don't want that. Definitely don't want that.
If you are living in a dystopia where your government and every other stakeholder doesn't even care for these kind of incidents, then why even bother going to these things?
They don't care, Siddharth.
They
That's
don't
what I'm
care.
saying.
Bigger picture. They're trying, or at least trying to.
The
look at a
so-called
bigger
bigger picture has been in place for 30, 40 years. What bigger picture are we talking about?
And that's the thing. Okay, I take your point, and that's the thing. I'm again coming from the perspective that if I was a neutral, if I was an ordinary fan, I'd not be watching. But that's also a personal thing. That would be because I'm not very comfortable. I wouldn't expect my one decision to suddenly result in peace between the neighbors, for instance. Why? Because it's not going to happen. Maybe me not watching it would make me feel a little better, saying, you know what, I didn't like the Pahalgam incident, and no one should. That was a horrific thing, and no one should have to ever go through something like that. So I feel that I'm uncomfortable with watching an India-Pakistan match. I take that call. At the same time, I'd be self-aware enough to say that I don't think it's going to actually impact anything. This issue will be solved either diplomatically or militarily. So, to take your example forward, where we, kind of self-isolate, and we'll run it back like it's 2020 and start self-isolating, I don't think that will really work for anyone. I'm not sure if it would. I don't think it would work for India. I don't think it would, I don't think it would put any pressure on Pakistan to kind of mend their ways. In fact, I think the opposite would work. Maybe if you can actually start collecting enough people to start boycotting, because that's what happened with the examples you gave, like Russia. Russia were being boycotted by the world. Russia didn't say that, no, you know what, we attacked Ukraine, so we're going to pull out of sport. Didn't work like that. If you want to put political pressure, then maybe the better way to do it would be to ensure that other teams feel uncomfortable playing Pakistan. That would put more pressure than pulling out yourself.
See, Russia, there's a double layer to it. They anyway got banned because of the state-sponsored drug program. That's a different issue altogether. Before Ukraine, technically they were not allowed to play under their flag from 2016 onwards.
But they are banned.
They are banned, okay.
They're not saying, listen, we have a drug issue, we are going to walk away and not participate.
Sure,
they were told.
Sure, but I'm talking about only in the war-like situation. Russia's case anyway was a bad example because they were already banned from 16 for the state-sponsored doping program that is there. But what I am saying is, see, we are in a strange kind of a situation yet again where every single time before a major India-Pakistan event, you look at 2019, 3 months before their match, there was a massive terror attack in Pulwama.
Yeah.
4 months before this Asia Cup encounter, we have had a Pahalgam-like incident, which was barbaric. You look at even 2016, when you played India-Pakistan, 6 months later you had Uri. Okay? 2008 terror attacks happened, Mumbai, which was over 150 dead in a brutal terror attack. You played them almost, I think, 1 year later in the Champions Trophy. You played them in the Asia Cup. You invited them to India 4 years later for a bilateral series. That remains the last bilateral series that was played between India and Pakistan until now. Every time there is a terror attack, the same argument comes up over and over again. It's been going on since Kargil. What are we doing different now? The boycotts were happening even then. He said one particular marketing line that was there, Aman Ki Asha, that was already Aman Ki Ashes decades ago, after Kargil. So, I really don't know if you want to isolate them. When you tried something previously, you've never ever gone the extra mile. You're stuck in neutral. Try something new. You claim you're New India. What is New India? I am caught in the 90s here. This is 90s. Let this also happen. But what we would say is, there blatantly would say, oh, don't mix sports with politics. No, that is not the way how these certain lobbyists would frame it. The dangerous thing that is happening now is, you're not allowing politics to mix with sports, but you're not saying it out loud. Because you will be accused of hypocrisy then.
No, I think they do. I mean, if you look at, say, a lot of sporting these things like Olympics and all, they say very clearly you can't have any sort of a political messaging. So I think it's very clear now
That
that
is
they
rich from...
Yeah, but I see, what was the last one you had? You had
Rio.
John Carlos and Tommy Smith. Really, the last one high profile where you're talking about mixing politics and sport.
72?
72 was that was a terrorist attack.
But that was also a political situation.
I'm
no?
saying
I was talking about athletes making a statement.
exactly.
That was a
I'm talking
terrorist
about
attack.
athletes
Okay.
making a statement.
Athletes.
Terrorist attack is a whole different thing.
Yeah, I mean, see, when you look at the political bit, 2008, Beijing, there was a lot of politics, Tibet, free Tibet.
Yeah, but again, they didn't do it in the public, no, because if they did, they'd get hauled.
Yeah, they
I don't know. People were saying it was when America was playing in the under 17 World Cup in India. At that point, there were issues which were taking place. Obviously, by that point, Trump had come in, and there were and people said, why don't the players take a knee? And I said, because they'll be banned. FIFA rules state very clearly that you can't make any sort of a political statement, and that's true even now.
cricket,
Even
the last time, no, I see in a bilateral series, if you remember,
bilateral
No.
series, ICC tournament.
England, West Indies. The West Indies players did take the knee for George Floyd.
Yes, but then that's a bilateral. They can't do it in an ICC tournament. ICC tournament, remember, Dhoni and the insignia.
Yeah, but there was
It's
also
not allowed.
Free Palestine. That's also been going on.
But Free Palestine, are any of them doing it? What happened to Khwaja?
Khwaja,
had the message and
Moin
correct.
Moin Ali.
So they were asked to remove it, right?
They were asked to remove it because cricket isn't grabbing that many eyeballs as an Olympics event would.
If they do it
That
in an
doesn't
Olympics
matter.
event,
No,
they
you
would
have to
be
look at
hauled
your
even.
universe. You
They
can't
would-
say this is a sport as not as popular as Olympics, so you're allowed to make.
I
The rules
mean-
have to be the same.
I mean, the last
Doesn't
time a
depend.
political statement was made, chess Olympiad, Budapest. Israel and Iran were paired.
Oh,
But
dear.
the Iranian players refused.
Yeah.
Obvious, because they don't have diplomatic relations with each other, and Iran is at a state of war with Israel. That was the last time I can recollect but Iran were not sanctioned. FIDE didn't sanction them because they knew that the situation was but such was the pairing and the algorithm, and that was there that they had to play against each other. So that is one instance where no sanctions were given to Iran. Although technically they should have been sanctioned because they decided to walk out. Same with China and Taiwan. If they are paired, China pulls out or Taiwan doesn't play on those kind of grounds. So, as I said, India has to do something.
No,
You haven't done
they
anything.
Play against each other at the Asian Games level, always competing. So you can't, that's what I'm saying. It's double standard. One event I'll play, the other I won't play. Okay, quickly running through some comments. Shubham Garg is saying, asking what stopping BCCI to pay some tribute to Pahalgam victims during Asia Cup, black armbands or some sort of logo as a gesture on the t-shirt. Khwaja though got pulled up for Palestine shoes, but still he had intention. Why not our cricketers do it personal level to show some
You're not
support?
empowered. I mean, more than Usman Khwaja, please follow this Australian women's cricketer who's been actively calling for this Free Palestine bit. Megan Schutt. Megan Schutt is a very active vocalist. She shares her thing and she's never ever scared of saying, oh, you don't tell me what to do. I will do what I want to do. So if you go to Megan Schutt's profile, she has lots of messages on the Free Palestine bit in a lot of ways. A lot of the Australian women's cricketers have got this Free Palestine thing going on. So.
See, I mean, my only thing with this is that if you do this, right, I again as a, fan, Indian fan, if let's say Pakistani cricketers start doing something like that, carry their Air Force and all those things that are happening with Rafale shot down and all of that thing, I will also take it amiss. I won't like it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying if a Pakistan player is doing, and I think as soon as you do that, you're adding another element to that game, which you're anyway trying to, bring the, not tempers, but all other things that are associated with like war-like situation, and not make it like that. As soon as you do this, you are only inciting crowds to just add on to that. I don't know whether it will be wise for them to do that, to mention it. But yeah, to each, if a player does think, maybe he can do it, but I don't know whether the rules allow him to do that or not. But I guess you can always wear a black armband. It's not showing any insignia or any thing.
Exactly. Black armband is as neutral.
Yeah, you can.
But then
I'm
they'll
saying
be
it just
asked now
gives
why
another-
a black armband. Nobody died because that's when you wear a black armband to mourn.
Yeah, I know it can create an issue.
It
And
will
then-
create an issue,
And what
yeah.
I'm saying is that I would not like it if a Pakistani cricketer did something, like that.
I mean,
Because you remember now, we'll go, Fahim Ashraf or someone put that story, and that was in bad taste. It's completely in bad taste. I didn't like it as a Indian. So then that's what I'm saying. As soon as you get into that realm, then you're making the cricket field also
and you're going to be
war-like.
You're going to be sharing the field with him on 14th. Well done. That's what I want to tell our policymakers who got this so-called holier than thou attitude. Well done.
But the thing is, he's not your friend. You're not making friends with him. You're not sharing. It's not sharing a piece of plate and we are both eating from that.
Still,
you're playing for each other. You're not making friends with him.
But still,
you're going
very basic thought.
See, there will be people who will abuse you. There are so many people that don't like you. You go onto the football field, and there have been people that have done nastier things to each other.
It is like you
come up against them.
See, I am glad.
I don't want to get into some, but the thing is, when you play that game, you're not playing that match to when Rangers and Celtics are playing against each other. There are abusers flying around. They're not friends there. They're not shaking hands, and there are nasty things that have been spoken about each other's religion, right?
Exactly.
Which has hurt a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I don't think when they play the match, they're thinking, oh, I'm sharing the same field as that person who may have said something about my religion, but he's treating it as a game. I'm not friends with him. You're not my friend.
No, this is like expecting Luis Suarez will get a grand VIP welcome in Ghana.
He will not. That's what I'm saying. But the thing is,
we'll be doing that with Fahim Ashraf.
No, he's
by
not,
just sharing the field with them.
No. You think Suarez will not play on the pitch with Ghana, and Ghana will refuse to play?
No,
it
not
doesn't
a chance.
happen.
Yeah.
They will not be friends. None of the crowds will be endearing towards Luis Suarez, or the players would be like hugging each other and exchanging jerseys. No, but they will play the game. They're not my friends.
Unless it's played in Gold Coast.
I mean, look at it this way.
Played.
Look at it this way. When Suarez was caught up for racially abusing Patrice Evra didn't boycott the match. No, following game he played.
They'll never be friends.
They'll never be friends.
They won't exchange, Christmas cards or shake hands or follow each other on Instagram or whatever. No. May not even talk to each other, may not even look at each other. It's a match you play. You're playing for your club or your country. That's it.
Yep.
No friendship there.
Shivam Garg is saying, sorry, but we don't want people to judge you for covering/not covering. Then why are you judging people who are boycotting this game? Will they do every game? Where have I judged them? I've just told all those people who are putting out a statement now, will they do it even for 21st? Will they do it for October 5? Will they do it for February also? That is my basic thing. Judging doesn't mean that, okay, I'm telling you, they are all profiteers, they're all TRP mongers. I'm not calling them that. I'm just asking one basic question. Will you do it on 21st or even 28th? India-Pakistan could play in the final for the very first time. That can also happen. Asia Cup, they've never played in a final. Who knows, this might be the edition. So 3 times. Will you do it on 21st, 28th, October 5 and then on February? It's a basic question. Nikhil sir, fan clubs, the people who are boycotting the same people, making 10 videos to gain views and making India versus Pakistan hype.
Yeah, that comes back to the point I was trying to make, where I said that, if you don't want to let the fire burn, don't feed it oxygen. Even if you are, to use a modern term, hate watching it, you're still adding to their views. So just don't watch. Simple.
It comes to the territory, my friend. It comes to the territory. If you're working in this particular thing, you have to do it.
I'm not talking about me personally.
Professionally,
no, not even professionally. I'm talking about as an influencer fans, or if you're someone who's making social media content, then don't. If your sentiments are that badly hurt, please by all means don't watch the match. I respect that a lot more than you saying boycott, then making 10 videos saying you should boycott, because that's just engagement farming, to use another very modern term.
But that comes to the territory again, in that sense. Rohan is like saying, no one is saying BCCI/government to boycott the ICC tournaments. If a so-called superpower BCCI cannot cancel Asia Cup or ask ICC to prefer different groups, it's just shameless behavior. Asia Cup is extension of Operation Sindoor.
Is it though?
No, Rohan, I don't think so. That's what I'm trying to say.
It's not a war situation.
See, then that's what, again, would you be okay with then Operation Sindoor should then be extension for the Women's World Cup as well, for the T20 World Cup as well, and then so on and so forth for everything, for the World Championship when Neeraj is participating. Then everyone needs to pull out. Don't think that will happen.
Yeah.
वक्त की बात है गुरु.
shouldn't force anyone, but लोगों का अपना कॉन्शियंस होना चाहिए कि अगर उनके घर से कोई मरता है तब भी वो क्यों मैच देखे और तब भी क्यों वो सबको बोलते कि देखो.
But I'm just trying to say this one thing. I completely agree with your sentiment. But my point is, an India-Pak cricket match is not a dawat that is happening between two teams that we are all watching. It's not that. It is not. How do I say? Concert where we are celebrating each other's singing and
Not a very popular,
eating and drinking.
song show.
It's a sport which is competitive in nature. It's a multilateral event. Your team has gone to represent you and I. They are playing each team. They're not gone there as ambassadors of peace or to celebrate and enjoy with Pakistani players. They're not doing that at all. Is playing a game and actually trying to give their best to ensure that they can beat Pakistan. They've already mentioned as an extra edge. I'm not saying extend it and make it a win there. I'm not even saying a win there is win on the war field. No, nothing compares to what happens during war. None of that. But on the same line, this is also not a gesture of showing bonhomie and one big party. They're not going to do that at all. Don't treat it like that. Nobody should be offended. I don't think they're doing a joint collaboration, the two teams. It's not that.
Yeah.
A bilateral series would definitely be that.
Yes, that's the thing. The bilateral would be that. It's just, this isn't a bilateral, it's a multi-nation.
Yeah. Just go down.
Shivam doesn't want us to take any more questions. Raghib Aziz says, if you're going to pull out from every final and semi-final or ICC or ACC events, then the player won't be able to win the trophy. Then why would we even play? In that case, leave everything and play IPL.
Yes.
Exactly what I said. Then if you want to be consistent, then you just follow this. Then we'll stop our discussions also. We built for a World Cup. Just now we're debating, should, Virat and Rohit be there 2027? From now we should stop. How does it matter? You can prepare any sort of team that you want, would not matter, because end of the day, you can have the best team, you can prepare for 3 years, you can have the best fitness test, everything, every bowling attack, best combination. What's the point? If you draw Pakistan in a knockout, you're moving out. What were we discussing for 12, 18 months, prepping for a tournament?
Yep, that's the thing.
Rohan says that the truth is that in India, only the army is supposed to be patriotic, or the family who lose people in terrorist attacks are the only ones who show spine. Rohan, hard disagree. I don't think me boycotting a match is me showing any kind of spine. If you're comparing that.
And by the way, I say that as a army kid. I've said it before that I'm the first person in my family in 4 generations not to join the army. And all my uncles, my father, grandfather, great-grandfather, all have served in the army. But having said that, that's not to say that anyone else who's not from an army background is not as patriotic as me, or as my father was, or as my grandfather was. Yes, sure enough, they were patriotic and they did serve the country. But I've had people, whether they're my friends or relatives, who have not been in the army, and I do not ever view them as being any less patriotic. They may be doing any different profession. Everyone loves their own country in their own way, is my point. Again, or for example, in that sense, I'm any less patriotic than my father was, because he's in the army, so you can't say that he was far more patriotic for the country than I am, or So it's a different thing. We chose different professions, but our love for the country can be the same, and ditto for everyone else. So,
as you said, you've come from an army background, and in fact, your first generation. My grandfather, my maternal grandfather, he was in the army. He served, and more importantly, he was part of 2 wars. Yeah. He actually fought in 2 wars. I've had my mother's siblings. Her mother, my grandmother, they have actually lived through war-like situations whereby when the sirens rang, you'd have to go into the bunkers and you'd have to just, hope for the best. And
65-71.
Yes, exactly. Those wars are wars that my grandfather fought in. So if I'm telling you this with some sort of this thing, if that's your check mark that army or services,
that shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. No, I'm saying, but it is. It's an unfortunate yardstick for a lot of people. No. I'm saying your patriotism, my patriotism, anyone's is by no means different just because you choose to do something or choose to not do something. No. Simple as.
Yep.
Okay, last few comments before we wind up. Siddharth says, Nikhil sir, how does ACC segregate teams into two groups? We know they intentionally group India, Pakistan, but is it by ratings or rankings? Any logic involved? No logic,
No
Siddharth,
logic.
to answer your question. No logic at all. Why does ACC, even ICC does not follow any logic?
There's no logic, just vibes.
Yeah, correct. They just put India, Pakistan together for eyeballs. Absolutely no mincing words in that. That's the truth. Sachin Kashyap says, but people are going for the match in stadium. That will hurt broadcaster. Ticket sales are going low. That is the main issue. 30% people watching the India-Pakistan match. And I completely agree, Sachin. I'm not saying that. But the only one you're hurting is the broadcaster. But the broadcaster is not the decision maker. See, if you want to get something across, let's say, I'll just give an example. You are upset with inflation and the prices of everything going well, and you want to take the street as citizen, but you want to pass that message on to the government. So how will that happen? By you doing dharna, questioning the government, hunger strike, various, so that it impacts them. That will happen. But if I go and say that no, each of us will go to our local kirana wala and just pick that thing and slap him and not pay him money, and we'll keep doing this, and that's how you will hurt the kirana wala. The kirana wala is not deciding the MRP.
Correct.
So your eventual goal will have to be that you have to communicate it and hurt the government in that sense to bring the inflation down. In this case, you hurt the broadcaster. Next time there'll be a different broadcaster, or he won't bid for this event, he'll bid for another event, or BCCI will next time organize few other series. That will keep going on. I don't think by you not watching, see, as I said, your end goal or end result should be that there is no cross-border terrorism. I think that is what you all want to achieve. The people who are behind that have no impact at all, whether you watch an India-Pakistan game or not. Doesn't impact them at all. In fact, you boycott, they are happier because they really want this to happen. They actually propagate no sports at all. Country should not be playing. I'm talking about the fanatics, and it's the truth. So you're not watching them, doesn't impact them at all. Chennai's singles king, he says, last week on the Viknik show, Asia Cup was called as Operation Sindoor Part 2. I can see that in the something. I mean, it's to each, what do I say? Each person has their own opinion. I don't see it like that. I've tried to refrain from that here as well. In fact, there was a mention here and I said, no, it's not an extension of that. I don't want it like that. Okay, Chandresh, my good friend, is here. He said, Mr. Nas, Sid needs a medal for controlling himself. He knows why. Will you give him? I'll give him. I definitely give him.
Chandresh.
Anshu Mishra is saying, do you know why?
I know, I'll tell it to you.
Okay. Nick sir, did SL playing most ODIs in 2000 till 25 compared to other teams? How Sangakkara played 404 ODIs in just 15 years and Mahila 452 in 17 years compared to 462 in 24 and Ponting 380 in 17 years.
Sri Lanka were playing a lot of tri-series, quadrangulars. I mean, imagine they used to play South Africa, Sri Lanka, Pakistan in Morocco, Tangiers. There was a series that was held there. You would play them there and Sharjah, man, in those 2000 periods, every triangular series there used to be Sri Lanka. Every triangular series.
But also, I must tell you that Sachin, because he had a lot of injury issues and he would not miss test series, but he would skip a lot of ODI series because of the tennis elbow, and there was a period that he would miss her.
Yeah.
And also, I think we all remember that phase, that dark phase in the mid-2000s. You sneezed and you had an India-Sri Lanka bilateral.
Yeah.
I don't call it a dark phase. The cricket quality was often good, but it became diminishing returns real quick.
2006, you had a 7-match ODI series against them.
See?
Yeah, you won 6-1 in that. Yeah. So imagine you used to, then you had 7 matches and you would have 5 matches here. 5 matches there, 5 matches here.
You'd get bored. 3-match. Done. Dusted.
Yeah.
Okay, final comment of the evening. This comes from Waqt Ki Baat Hai Guru once again. He says, Nikhil sir, stop your morality. You are worried that India kuch karega, so it can hurt Pak. Really?
Did you say that?
No, I didn't. उन्होंने तो ऑप सिंदूर भी बुरा लगा तो नहीं करना था क्या? ये क्या लॉजिक है कि कुछ ना करें ग्राउंड पर जो पाक को बुरा? नहीं. I think what you're talking about. I'm not talking about what I think what he's talking about when Shubham said that Indian players should, let people know about Pahalgam or mention that. But I just mentioned, similarly, there was another question that do you think it's an extension of Operation Sindoor? A lot of people did not like that as well. So to that I have said that do not mix that. And it gets uglier, by the way. That's what I'm trying to say in the sporting term. And that's exactly what happens in social media. For example, when the war is happening, one Indian cricketer will of course write in favor of his country. Then a Pakistani cricketer will write in the favor of his country. That affects me. I don't like that. Then it gets aggravated. And then there is no level of discourse, it keeps falling at a certain time. Same thing will happen here. Now, what is the point? As I said, we all felt hurt what Fahim Ashraf is, the kind of image that he put. Would you want a Pakistani, so if Indian players get any reference to that on the field, the Pakistan player will also get, I'm not saying bura lagega unko ya kuch hai. It'll lead into a mini riot on the ground. Yeah. You don't know where it will stop. Each person will want to do that. It's pretty much like saying that, listen, that, I would not like somebody to get into a physical fight with me, right? I do not, because, I mean, not command respect, but I value my own self and I have a lot of self-respect. So I wouldn't want anyone to catch hold of my t-shirt and tear it or whatever, right? If I don't want to be doing that, then I do not want to be instigating a fight as well. I'm just trying to tell you that. I don't care about unko bura lagega nahi. I have said I don't want to feel bad, because if something you do that they will do 2 times, you will make it 4 times, that will become 8 times. Eventually, I will not like, I don't want to see anybody do that. I did not like that Fahim Ashraf story, and it just one thing adds to another and it can get really nasty. I wouldn't want that. Who will stop them from insulting some of our armed forces people? You don't know. So which is my point, is there are rules, that's why in place, that don't bring anything political, because it can get out of hand. Where do you know to draw the line? Nobody knows that. I don't care about unko bura lagega nahi. Okay, last 2 comments. Austin Dukuna says, Nikhil sir, watching Asia Cup since 2012 and this is the most buzzless Asia Cup ever. As a cricket fan, I would prefer Champions T20 or mini IPL instead. CPL, England, South Africa is exciting than this. Austin, good point.
Agreed.
But I'm just saying, usually my experience with Asia Cup, it takes time. So let's...
Maybe Super 4 stages the buzz will catch on. Because once the associate nations are out, then you got only the top 4.
And you need a few upsets in the middle, just changes the course. So let's wait and watch.
T22, we didn't have a major upset from anybody. Or did we?
India didn't make the final, sir. That was an upset.
Pakistan and Sri Lanka beat them. It was not as if the Minnows beat them.
Still, it was an upset.
Yeah.
Okay, last comment. Arvind Athera says, Nikhil, I'll watch Pakistan game if it's a knockout match or if it's a round robin format. In the same group intentionally, I won't watch. I quite like that comment. Yeah. Fair comment.
Yep.
Absolutely, Arvind. Complete fair comment. Not denying that. Your personal choice, you're entitled to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You guys, for those of you who didn't join us live, watching this telecast a little later, do drop in a comment. Let us know what you think. And yeah, see you tomorrow, same time. Lots more content coming up on Sports Today. Do check that out. From Siddharth, Shane and I. Bye-bye. Take care.
Nandri, Vanakkam, Shubhratri, Shabba Khair. Eat your vegetables.
Don't trouble your mothers.
Stay safe and see you soon.